This is breaking news from 8 News Now.
Good afternoon. A Metro helicopter forced to come down right in the middle of a neighborhood. You're looking at the damaged aircraft from Chopper 8.
2 Metro officers were taken to the hospital from this. Thanks for joining us. I'm Paul Joncich.
And I'm Denise Valdez. The accident happened at about 1:30 this afternoon with the chopper landing right near Bonanza and Eastern. Sources telling us now the names of the pilots are Paul Lorenko and Dave Callan. These are pictures from a Facebook page from Paul Lorenko. Now, on that page, it says he has been a pilot with Metro since 1997 and actually says today is his work anniversary for starting as a pilot 17 years ago.
8 News Now reporter Vanessa Murphy is live right now for us. Vanessa?
Denise and Paul, a deputy chief just briefed us, gave us some more information. He says the 2 officers are in good condition at UMC. He said they were able to walk away from this crash, walk out of the helicopter. I'll step out of the way so you can see how much is still blocked off here, and you can see our video from earlier. He tells us this chopper was originally here in this neighborhood around 1:20, responding to a battery call, attempting to locate a suspect over by 23rd Street. That's when it went down. He says no one else was injured, no property was damaged, which is really amazing. He says that says something about these pilots and their ability to fly, that they were able to avoid any other problems besides that chopper going down. He tells us the FAA and the NTSB are investigating. The NTSB is not on site just yet, but the FAA is here. And apparently that's the holdup with the information, with getting that information to us. Metro wanted to make sure that they were able to give us certain details. So again, we have limited details, but we do know this was a 4-person helicopter with 2 pilots inside. Again, those 2 officers are in good condition at UMC. Back to you guys.
Very scary, Vanessa. Thanks very much. Our own Chopper 8 has been flying over the scene, watching the rescue and the response today. Ken Smith joins us live. Now, Ken, are you hearing anything about what might have caused the chopper to go down?
Yeah, we haven't heard anything about what exactly caused the chopper to go down this afternoon, but based on our observation up here in Chopper 8 and just covering these in the past, it appears that it was some sort of mechanical issue that actually caused this chopper to go down. What they do in a situation like this, they go into what is called an auto rotation, where the blades are still turning even though the engine is no longer functioning. So then it's like a controlled descent at a high rate of speed, but it's still a controlled descent nonetheless. But you're going to be hitting the ground no matter what without that engine going. And you can see when they hit the ground, they actually have a whole bit of skid marks right here on 23rd Street in this residential neighborhood just a little bit north of Bonanza. Now, they did a miraculous job of not only missing all the homes, but pretty much all the property. It looked like maybe they might have clipped the side of this U-Haul truck, but kind of looking at it closer, it doesn't appear to be any damage even to the U-Haul truck. So miraculously, they managed to avoid hitting everything. The 2 officers did a great job of getting down here on the ground. They were transported off to University Medical Center, as we mentioned earlier, and it looks like their condition is pretty good, which is definitely good news. And as Vanessa was mentioning, we're waiting for the NTSB to arrive on the scene, and then they can start cleaning up the mess out here and reopen this neighborhood for these residents that live down here below us. Reporting live here this afternoon in Chopper 8, 700 feet above this accident. I'm Ken Smith, 8 News Now.
Ken, thanks. Glad to hear that they are not seriously injured, apparently. We'll stay on top of that story, but we are also counting down to the biggest party of the year here in Las Vegas. Already, people across the pond in London are welcoming in 2015.
In fact, you're looking live at London as they celebrate the new year with really impressive fireworks display. Over 500,000 people estimated in the city's River District.
We're still 8 hours away from bringing in the new year here in Las Vegas, but the celebrations have been underway for hours across the world.
Auckland, New Zealand was the very first major city in the world to roll over the new calendar with a fireworks show from their Sky Tower.
A few hours later, Sydney, Australia, dazzled with their annual show in the harbor, where over 500,000 people took in the show near the Opera House.
And in Taiwan, several tiers of fireworks, in fact, from the Taipei 101 Tower. That is the 3rd tallest building in the world. Several other big displays are planned, including Rio de Janeiro in Brazil and, of course, Times Square in New York City. And, of course, we'll have our very own fireworks here in about 8 hours. Meantime, though, what everyone's been talking about, we got a light dusting of snow here in Las Vegas today. But to the south, the snow did cause some major issues. US 95 I-5 was closed between I-40 and the Nevada-California state line. The California border was shut down per CHP's request. They had a lot of issues with ice and snow on their side of the border at mile marker 1, but the road is back open this afternoon.
The chance of snow in Las Vegas is headlines across the country.
Of course.
I'm hearing from all my friends today. People on the Strip are really bundled up, Ted, but they're going to need it tonight, snow or no snow, right?
Yeah, that's right, because temperatures are definitely going to get very cold. Some of the coldest temperatures we haven't seen in quite some time. Meanwhile, talking about that snow, we actually had a dusting on Russell on 95. So many pictures sent to us, to our newsroom. Thank you for sending that. Not a lot of areas did see that snow, though, so looks like it really was just kind of a bust. We had a bit light dusting in some spots, but most areas remain dry. We have a hard freeze warning that goes into effect tonight at 10 p.m., and that lasts all the way through Friday morning. What's that mean? Well, temperatures are going to be down to the 20s. Yeah, the 20s by the morning hours. So remember the 4 Ps. Again, we talk about this all the time. Pipes, the pools, the plants, and the pets. It's going to be cold all the way through Saturday morning. As temperatures will still be at the freezing mark on Saturday. These are sub-freezing temperatures in the 20s that are going to be around for at least a couple of days. So we'll have more on that, and we'll show you some snow totals coming up in just a few minutes. We'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Ted, let's get you caught up in some news this afternoon. The suspect in Friday's deadly shooting at a Walgreens plans to plead not guilty. 25-year-old Jen Ackerman was in court this morning. He's charged in the murder of 58-year-old Tony Insett. Police say Ackerman was a former Walgreens employee who killed Insett because he knew him from previously working with him at a different location. Ackerman is also accused of robbing another Walgreens on Christmas Eve. Now, the hearing was continued until next week. Ackerman's attorney says he's waiting for more information on discovery that's going to come from the state side of the case. District Attorney Steve Wolfson says prosecutors, though, could seek the death penalty.
This is a man that committed a heinous crime. I mean, it was a senseless killing. We have a strong case, but we have a criminal justice system, and we need to let it play out.
Isnett's family was not in court today. Ackerman is being held without bail. He's expected back in court January 7th.
The woman accused of killing a pedestrian in a hit-and-run crash last month had her preliminary hearing today after several delays. News Now's Mauricio Marin was in the courtroom with details of what transpired at Galina Kalova's appearance. Mauricio?
Galina Kalova is accused of hitting and killing Michael Grubbs with her car last month. He was walking his granddaughter at the time. Today in court, witnesses testified about Kalova's dangerous driving. Kalova sat quietly in her chair during the court hearing. The victim's family also in the courtroom and upset that Kalova didn't appear to be remorseful. Authorities say the deadly hit and run happened near Warm Springs Road and Rainbow Boulevard just days before Thanksgiving. Now, Kalova waited to turn herself into authorities until after the holiday. In court today, Kalova's attorney grilled several witnesses who took the stand. He argued their testimony didn't prove that his client knew that she had hit a person. Prosecutors disagreed.
The law, the case that I gave the judge specifically says that she either had to know or presumed to know that what she hit was a person who needed help.
We were required to establish by law at this point was that the defendant was driving a vehicle, that she was in a collision, that collision caused death or injury to another person, and that she did not stop at the scene of that collision, and that's what we did.
The judge ruled the case can move forward to 8th District Court, where Kalova is expected to plead not guilty. She's due back in court in about 2 weeks. Kalova remains in jail after her bail was raised to $100,000 earlier this month. The victim's granddaughter that was with him at the time is doing okay, according to the family. Now, today in court, some heated exchange between the judge and Kalova's attorney. We'll have that coming up at 5. Paul and Denise.
All right, Mauricio, thanks. We've got more breaking news this afternoon. Ken is over this large house fire. This is right near Rancho and Oakey, and boy, Ken, the smoke and flames are just pouring out of this house.
Yeah, and this is actually on the specific street. It is Kirkland Avenue, which is going to put it just a few blocks south of Oakey and just about 4 blocks to the east of Rancho. And this house is cooking. Now, the Las Vegas Fire Department, they just arrived on the scene within the last minute or so, and you can see them trying to figure out a way to kind of gain entry, and they're trying to double check to probably make sure that there's nobody inside the house. The palm tree has caught fire. The power lines have also caught fire. Most likely, there will be power out right in this particular neighborhood. Once again, this is right near Oakey and Rancho, just to the east of Rancho and just south of Oki. This house is continuing to cook here, and the house and the smoke is continuing to spread over to the other portion of the house, to this carport where there's a car parked underneath the carport this afternoon. Right now, no water yet has been, oh, there's the first water now just beginning to be placed onto this fire. So first priority here, looks like they're trying to get the palm tree out, and they're going to be focusing, of course, on this house as well. It looks like a storage facility right here on the back side of the house is also on fire. Once again, they're going to be trying to make entry. They don't really want to, because it's very dangerous to go into this house at this juncture of a fire, but they want to try to also make sure that there's nobody inside. So they're probably double checking that right now as we speak. So right now, Denise, as I send it back to you, I know this is not too far from your neighborhood. Very dangerous and scary situation for this particular house that has caught fire.
Ken, let's stay with your picture for a minute, because I'm seeing is maybe 1 or 2 trucks so far that are trying to get a handle on this thing. Still a lot of black smoke, meaning they haven't got a lot of water on it yet. Is it just the one fire truck at this point that's on scene?
Yeah, as I pull out with the live shot here a little bit, you can see we got 2 different ladder trucks that have arrived here this afternoon, and also we got paramedics that also have arrived. So more are on the way as we speak. As a matter of fact, here's another fire truck just rolling up. We're seeing more and more of them converging on this neighborhood as we speak. But in the meantime, you know, time is of the essence until they can get the surround and drown tactic, as I like to describe these fires. They eventually will surround it. They'll probably be one of those taller bucket ladder trucks out here in the next few minutes. They'll eventually surround this house, and then they'll drown it out with as much water as they possibly can do. They do have a fire hydrant that they've already connected to, so that's definitely one bit of good news. And each of these fire trucks contained a lot of water. They have storage of water inside, so they'll use that as well if need be, as well as the fire hydrants to try to help contain this particular blaze. And of course, the big issue up here is not only the close adjacent home right here, but the winds. The winds are very, very volatile up here this afternoon, coming out of the north, and they're coming out of the northeast. Now, the only bit of good news about that is that it is blowing the flames and the fire and the smoke away from the adjacent house. So that's definitely one bit of good news. If the winds would have been coming and gusting out of the southwest, it could be a different story. But right now, there's really nothing over here to burn adjacent to this house that could catch it any more on fire. But we're continuing to follow this. It is something else.
Ken, we were watching your feed a few minutes before you hit the air, and it was clear that this house was fully involved before the firefighters got there, which is concerning somewhat, given their cars in the carport. Hopefully everyone got out of there okay.
Yeah, that's what we're all hoping for as well. And just as I predicted here, you can see one of those larger, giant ladder trucks here. So that's what they bring out here. They've now arrived on the scene. So now they're going to be able to use that and get up there in that big bucket, and then they'll get on top of this house, and then they'll be able to start spraying this fire down from the top to the bottom, rather than from the bottom on up. They can do from the top on down, and that'll increase the likelihood of getting this under control sooner rather than later. It is, but it's still cooking, and that smoke is still black, especially there, ironically, coming out of the chimney. It is the blackest right there.
We'll have to check with the power company to find out about any power outages due to the power lines catching fire, as Ken just showed us there.
Oh, that's real sad to watch. You know, those older homes, older neighborhoods, that whole attic looks like it's involved in fire. We're going to take a quick break. Let's tell you what's coming up, and then we'll keep an eye on this fire for you during the commercial. Snow around the valley. We are sharing the videos that many of you sent to us of the view from your neighborhood, plus how out-of-towners are dealing with this cold.
That missing Air Asia plane is believed to be found, but now there's a new problem. What is holding up search crews from doing their job?
This is breaking news from 8 News Now.
Want to follow that active house fire burning near Rancho and Oki? Ken Smith in Shopper 8 with the latest. Ken?
Yeah, we're watching the fire now, kind of continuing to spread over to this other back corner of the house now, and you can see the flames. They are shooting in the air at least about maybe 10 to 15 feet into the air here on the back corner of the house, and you can see the fire department. They are down here. They got the ladder. They want to probably get up there, and they want to try to ventilate this the attic. So that's where the fire can really kind of smolder, and then it can explode on a moment's notice. But it's exploded already in, of course, multiple spots, as you can see here this afternoon. Once again, we're right near the intersection of Rancho and Oki on a smaller street called Kirkland, and the fire department continuing to converge out here. They'll get multiple bucket trucks, and they'll eventually surround and drown this entire house. Hopefully nobody was inside at the time this fire broke out. We haven't received any other details from the Las Vegas Fire Department. Reporting live here this afternoon right near the Scotch 80s neighborhood, I'm Ken Smith, 8 News Now.
All right, Ken, thanks for that. Search crews preparing for another full day of recovery in the waters off of Indonesia, but it's not going smoothly. High winds, rough seas are making it very tough to recover any bodies. The Air Asia Flight 8501 disappeared 2 hours into its flight on Sunday. CBS News has learned Indonesian officials believe the pilot attempted a steep climb to try and get out of that bad weather just before the plane went down. Authorities in charge of the investigation, though, cannot confirm that until those black boxes are located. CBS News confirmed a sonar image believed to be the main fuselage is upside down at the bottom of the Java Sea. Now, as the bodies start to arrive, the identification process will slowly begin.
What a job. Now, we've been dealing with a lot of breaking news, but before that, the excitement of the day was snow flurries around the valley. When we come back, we'll check in on what areas got the most snow and what is in the forecast for us.
All right, so it wasn't much, but we did get some of that snow we were waiting for today.
Yeah, it snowed outside my house today. And several of you sent in videos of flurries outside your homes. Most of the snow melted as soon as it hit the ground, but that did not make it any less fun for this pup. Reba enjoyed chasing the snowflakes this morning. A big thanks to Bethany Chapman for sharing her video with us. So with this wintry weather, we sent someone who's used to it out into the elements today.
8 News Now reporter Michael Stevens is a Chicago guy. He's seen this all too often, but it's pretty unusual for us here in the Valley. So, Michael, you thought you left all the cold weather behind you, huh? We tricked you.
I thought so. It is definitely cold out here. I left all my warm clothes in the Windy City as well. I thought I'd be done with this for some time, but I guess that's not really the case. At least we're not dealing with the blizzard or big snow out here. But I'm not the only one who wasn't really prepared for this winter weather. Today on Las Vegas Boulevard, we spoke with a number of people in town for New Year's Eve. One group we spoke to traveled all the way from London for tonight's celebrations. They said the last time they visited was in the summer and never expected the temps to drop down this low.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a little bit warmer. I expected it to be cold, but not this cold.
Bundle up, that's the key for tonight. That means winter coats, hats, gloves, scarves. Don't wait to pick those items up. I'm told some stores on the Strip are selling out of winter gear very quickly because people are realizing late that it's just too cold to go without it. And if you plan on drinking tonight, a word from advice from the EMTs or local EMTs here. They say if you're drinking alcohol, it will make you feel warmer inside, and that could maybe put you at risk for something more serious like hypothermia. So the best advice, make sure that you bundle up and stay safe on this New Year's Eve. Reporting live at the Link, Michael Stevens, 8 News Now.
All right, Michael, thanks very much. We all can feel it. It is cold outside. Ted, is it as cold as you thought it was going to be tonight?
Yeah, definitely. But here's the deal, though. Temperatures are in the 40s right now because actually wind can actually warm up the air a little bit. So, but once those winds drop, guys, tonight, that's when it gets real cold. Calmer winds make it colder at night. That's why we've got a hard freeze warning issued for tonight. Stratosphere cam shows mostly cloudy skies. They're out there. Clouds aren't going away tonight. Winds about 8. Your dew point at 7 degrees. I'm showing you the dew point because that's a very dry dew point. That's in the lower levels. So any type of precip coming down is drying out, evaporating before it's even hitting the ground. And that goes for any type of snow flurries too. 40 degrees right now for our current temperature. Sunlit 39, Blue Diamond 39 as well. 34 for you in Green Valley. Outside of town, 41 for Mesquite. 36 for Searchlight and Laughlin. Those areas did see some snow today. That's how low those snow levels dropped. Who got snow? Out of McCarran, we showed you earlier in our noon show. We did pick up a trace out there. Laughlin picked up ½ an inch. Don't normally see snow. Searchlight, an inch out there. Last time we had snow on New Year's Eve was way back in 1964. And we also picked up a trace back then. Now back to our West Coast radar. I want to show you this because the low's still to the south of us. But you see all this coming our way. You remember that dew point at 7 degrees? All this right here is evaporating again before it hits the ground. So it's out there, but it's way up in the sky. So we're remaining on the dry side with all those clouds. Hard freeze warning still goes into effect 10 p.m. through Friday. These areas here are going to see temperatures down to the 20s. Here's your neighborhoods. Pick them out. Sunrise Mountain, 30 degrees for you, 26 for the lakes, some at 24 degrees, 28 for you in Green Valley and Henderson. dropping to 29 degrees tonight. It's going to be a cold one. Here's a look at your New Year's Eve forecast for tonight. Winds should be 10 or less for our winds. Good. We need them down to be light winds. 32 degrees, 10 p.m. midnight will be 30. 7-day forecast will clear things out for tomorrow. Back to some more sunshine, but look at those cold starts we have for Thursday, Friday, even Saturday for our recycling event. By next week, we're back to some sunnier weather. A little milder, near 60 degrees for Tuesday and Wednesday. If you guys need any scarves or anything, I got you covered.
Yeah.
I got my bag over there with everything for us tonight for this New Year's Eve coverage, all from Philly.
Yes, we'll be ready.
3 layers of underwear.
Oh, great.
I got
That's in my head now. Nice.
Sorry about that. All right, this house fire that we've been covering has broken through the roof. It is roaring. The flames are still going strong. We'll check in with Ken after the break.
It's the party the world will watch. New Year's Eve, live from the Strip. 8 News Now brings you the celebration starting at 10 p.m. This is breaking news from 8 News Now.
We continue to follow that active house fire, Ken, over the fire at Oakey and Rancho. Ken, this was roaring for 20 minutes, even with firefighters dousing with water. Looks like they're finally making some progress.
Yeah, they're finally making some progress. It's taken an awful lot of water to do so. They've been spraying with a giant cannon hose right here at the top of the roof. They basically have this giant little area that's attached to a fire truck, so they raise it up into the air and they get it above the house, and then they just spray away right here into the center of the house. Now, coming up a little bit after 4:30 this afternoon, I'm going to show you some earlier video that we shot of the air conditioning system actually falling into the middle of the house off the rooftop itself. Now, the firefighters here at Las Vegas Fire Department, they're also want to make sure they protect the neighbor's home next door, so they actually have one of their ladders there. They're going to be watching to make sure that fire doesn't spread over to any other locations here as these winds, but the winds are pretty much gusting mostly out of the east this afternoon, and they're heading off to the west. Fortunately, there's enough space between this house and the next house. It doesn't seem to be affecting the house next door, but a total loss this afternoon. Once again, we'll have another update coming up at 4:30 this afternoon on this blaze, once again near Oakey and Rancho. Reporting live here this afternoon near the Scott J.D.'s neighborhood or above it, I'm Ken Smith, 8 News Now.
All right, Ken, thanks. Las Vegas just a couple of hours away now from shutting down the Strip for the biggest party of the year.
We have the scoop on New Year's Eve preparations next.
This is breaking news from 8 News Now.
Las Vegas firefighters have knocked back a raging fire at a house near Oakey and Rancho. It looks like they're getting their first opportunity, Ken, to get a look inside and make sure no one was in there.
Yeah, you know, and that is the main thing that everybody was worried about. And I was watching when they first arrived on scene, they being the Las Vegas Fire Department, they were trying to enter into the front door, and I think they were probably yelling and trying to make sure that there was nobody inside this house at the time. Now, we haven't received any information from them whether or not anybody was inside or not. Well, we're just kind of hoping for the best that nobody was in there, but they had to quickly take a defensive stance on this fire for quite some time. It broke out at 4 o'clock. Here it is 30 minutes later, and what a difference a half hour makes with this fire. But for about 20 of the 30 minutes, it was raging out of control. I wanted to show you some earlier video that we shot from Chopper 8 just about 10 minutes ago or so when the fire was really cooking there. And you could see as we were rolling up here on the scene, the fire was just blazing away at times, and that's why the firefighters were converging on this area. And then at one point, the air conditioner on the roof of the house actually collapsed and actually fell inside the house, and we happened to spot that just as it was happening while we were off the air. But as we sit here and continue to look at some of this earlier video, you can see how it was cooking, and it caught the palm tree on fire. Power lines were caught on fire as well. We haven't received any word from NV Energy whether any homes in this immediate area are out of power at the moment, but this is right near the intersection of Oakey and Rancho. As we go back out here live, though, you can see that things are starting to stabilize the situation. Firefighters right now, they're continuing to look inside the house. Even the hot tub caught fire here. That was, believe it or not, that was a hot tub. Well, really not so much anymore. Now it's more like a debris tub, if you will, as we continue to look at this. So we'll continue to follow this, and hopefully we'll just keep our fingers crossed and that nobody was inside that house at the time the fire broke out. Reporting live here right near Rancho and Oakey, I'm Ken Smith, 8 News Now.
All right, Ken, well, it is the biggest party of the year, and nobody does it like Las Vegas.
That's for sure. And in just hours, the Strip will shut down to cars, and revelers will pour into the street and get ready for the big countdown to 2015. 8 News Now's Lauren Rozyla is live on Las Vegas Boulevard. Lauren?
Hey, Paul and Denise, I'm out here braving those very chilly temperatures along with some of our best tourists. We're out here having a great time as people are preparing for the big fireworks tonight. But they are also preparing for some road closures. So I'm going to give you a look at traffic that is still moving pretty steady. But at 5 p.m., NHP troopers and NDOT will be shutting down I-15 and those off-ramps. Those will be at Spring Mountain Road, Flamingo, and Tropicana. But where exactly will you be able to get on? Well, drivers can enter and exit at I-15 at Sahara Avenue and Russell Road. Now, of course, for now, the traffic is still moving pretty steady up and down the boulevard. But don't forget that at 6 o'clock tonight, all of the roads leading to the Strip between Sahara and Mandalay Bay Road will be closed. And, of course, the Strip will be closed to all vehicle traffic coming up tonight at 6:30 p.m. This is so that way all of the pedestrians and partygoers and revelers can be out here safely. They don't have to have any hazards. They can just walk from casino to casino, having a great time preparing to enjoy those fireworks. And of course, if you want to follow our coverage on on TV, of course, we want you to watch, but you can also follow it on social media just using the hashtag VegasNYE. So make sure to stay tuned for that. Reporting live on the Strip, Lauren Rozyla, 8 News Now. Back to you guys.
And I think Lauren is wearing 2 scarves because that's how cold it is outside. Well, they are ready to party in Times Square. Thousands have packed the streets since this morning, hoping for the best view of New York's famous Crystal Ball and fireworks show. But up to 1 million people are expected in Times Square by the time the night is through. Security is tight. The NYPD, along with heavily armed counterterrorism teams, bomb-sniffing dogs, and rooftop patrols, all on alert. The police department is also bracing for potential demonstrations against their officers.
So if there's ever a time to live it up, it's tonight. It's going to be a party, but that's not an excuse to be irresponsible out there. AAA is offering free rides and tows home if you have too much to drink. Put this number in your cell phone, 1-800-AAA-HELP. If you call that number, a driver will pick you up and take your car home. Again, totally free. You don't even have to be a AAA member for this. The service is good for rides within 10 miles of your home, and it runs through 6 a.m. tomorrow morning.
A Valley child's death is under investigation. 4-month-old Arilee Balance died Sunday at a local hospital. She was rushed to the hospital on the 14th after a 911 call was made for an unresponsive child. Now, the family does have a prior allegation of abuse, but that was found to be unsubstantiated. The girl's cause of death, though, is pending.
The mother of a man shot and killed by federal rangers at Red Rock is suing the federal government. Tracy Meadows filed a wrongful death civil rights suit on December 23rd. She says 2 BLM rangers could have gotten medical help for her son, DeAndre Berghardt Jr., when they found him walking near Red Rock Canyon last February. Instead, the lawsuit says the rangers confronted the 20-year-old with pepper spray, tasers, and a baton before shooting him in the head. The BLM says Berghardt tried to grab a rifle from an NHP vehicle and that they were forced to open fire on him. The shooting is still under investigation.
A space heater is being blamed for starting a house fire this morning. 5 people were able to escape the home right near Lamb and Bonanza without injury after a bedroom caught fire. Investigators with Las Vegas Fire and Rescue determined that the space heater was too close to some curtains, which then caught fire and spread to the rest of the room. The American Red Cross is assisting now 2 adults, a teenager, and 2 children who were displaced because of this fire. We can also tell you the damage was estimated at $10,000. And the Red Cross is assisting 3 adults following an apartment fire, this one near Buffalo and Charleston. Las Vegas Fire Rescue also knocked this one out. They say it was contained to the garage. Everybody was able to get out without any injuries. And you are reminded to have functional smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors inside your home at all times.
It's been a busy day for firefighters in our area. It may be important to note that an air quality advisory is in effect tonight through New Year's Day due to the smoke from local fireworks. Now, smoke is made of small dust particles and other pollutants that can aggravate respiratory diseases. So if you're at risk, it's probably best to stay indoors during this time and consider changing your air filters if they're dirty. Also, a friendly reminder, it's illegal to shoot off your own private fireworks all year long except on Independence Day.
The newest numbers regarding foreclosures in Las Vegas are encouraging. The volume of metro residential properties that were in foreclosure fell to 2.4% in October from 3.7% last year. Real estate analytics company CoreLogic also reports that the volume of home mortgages in the area that are at least 90 days delinquent dropped to 6% in October, down from 8.8% October of last year. And that decline does reflect national trends.
And there are just a few hours left to have any charitable donations count as a tax deduction for 2014. The Animal Foundation is still in need of food and cash donations to help homeless pets through their Shelter Elves Holiday Giving Drive. More than 11,000 pets have been adopted by families this year. With your support, the shelter hopes to find forever homes for even more animals in 2015. The Animal Foundation is open until 7 o'clock tonight at their location on Mojave. Well, are you having a little trouble in the willpower department?
Might not be your fault, but it could be your approach. How to keep those New Year's resolutions with a plan in hand.
You're watching 8 News Now at 4 with Denise Valdez and Paul Joncich. The news of Southern Nevada is now.
Many of us make New Year's resolutions. I think 2 or 3 of those are mine. But how many of us keep our resolutions? We have some tips to make it happen in 2015.
It's easy to make New Year's resolutions, but can you keep them? Absolutely, if you're smart with your planning and can handle setbacks. The first rule of thumb,
right back on track. You know, the goal is progress toward your goal, not perfection.
And try to make just 1 or 2 resolutions a year. More than that may be a recipe for failure. For today's Health Minute, I'm Susan Hendricks.
All right, so be specific and set attainable goals. And we want to know what your resolutions are. You can join the conversation right now on our Facebook page. Just go to facebook.com/8newsnow.
Volkswagen has issued a recall of some of its cars due to a fuel line issue. The automaker says a sealing cap on the fuel rail may fail, allowing the gas to leak into the engine, and that can cause a fire. The recall affects nearly 38,000 cars, including the 2015 Golf, Beetle, and Jetta. Volkswagen is also recalling about 50,000 2015 Jettas because of problems with low beam headlights as well. Edward Herrmann, the actor best known for his roles in television's Gilmore Girls and The Practice, has died. His manager said he passed away at a New York hospital earlier today because of a brain tumor. Herrmann's career stretched out, though, over 4 decades. He was a Tony winner, an Emmy Award winner. Herrmann was 71 years old.
Another good actor passing away. A big surprise in the garage. How one man shocked his dad by restoring his classic truck, and you're going to love his reaction.
Today at 5, snow flurries and extreme cold touchdown in the valley. Why some locals say it's actually good for business. And the driver accused of hitting a man with a baby and driving off sees a judge. The tense exchange with her lawyer today at 5.
Snow is blanketing Flagstaff, Arizona today. They received 1 to 3 inches in areas with a lot more headed their way. It's estimated that Flagstaff could get between 9 and 15 inches. The Arizona Department of Transportation has advised a little over 2 inches of snow last night, and that spells good news for not only the resort, but winter sports enthusiasts as well. Skiing, snowboarding, and tubing have all resumed operations for the season.
All right, so the one word to get you through New Year's Eve, if you're going to be out on the strip tonight, is to layer.
Yes.
Right? That's how we're going to stay warm.
Scarves, layer,
hats,
protect your ears too.
Gloves,
That's
everything.
So exposed. This could be one of the coldest New Year's Eves in quite some time.
It sounds like it's going to be.
Seriously, I don't want to scare anybody, but bundle up. I'm not kidding. That's talking to us here too.
Right.
All right, live look outside right now. This is a view of the skyline here. We've got plenty of clouds. Look at this. Got some clearing actually out there in those clouds. Doesn't mean it's going to be clearing up tonight because it's still going to be cloudy overnight, and then tomorrow we'll see some clearing. We've got a hard freeze warning that goes into effect 10 p.m. tonight, 20s in the morning. That's how cold it's going to get, unfortunately. New Year's Eve could be one of the coldest in quite some time. We've got a graphic to show you just how cold it's going to get, or how it's cold it's been the past 10 years. That's coming up. 5 degrees up in Casper, Wyoming. I thought that'd make you feel better. Single digits. 11 for Minneapolis, 30 New York, 44 Atlanta. We're currently in the 40s outside like we just showed you. Our West Coast radar shows that low still spinning some moisture into Arizona, some of it towards us, but it's so dry again in the lower levels of the atmosphere, anything heading our way is just going to evaporate. If it does it, we maybe could see a quick flurry in the winds out there, but that's highly unlikely at this point. And even a quick raindrop is very unlikely, but still not out of the question. But it looks like right now all the energy again is going to stay towards the east. Here's a look right now at weather alerts. The hard freeze warning goes into effect tonight until 8 a.m. That's because temperatures in these areas here in purple are going to drop to below the freezing mark, 32 degrees of freezing mark. A lot of neighborhoods will be into the 20s. So let's get right back to our New Year's Eve temperatures that we've seen right at midnight. This goes back the last 10 years. In 2004, 39 degrees, but the coldest I've seen in the last 10 years was on 2011, where we got 30 degrees. Last year, I wasn't here, but it was 44 degrees. And that was nearly our high today. That was the overnight temperature or the midnight temperature last year. So tonight, we could drop near this temperature here, and that will be one of the coldest we've seen in quite some time. 27 degrees tonight, very cold. We've got that freeze warning we just told you about. Winds should be about 5 to 10, maybe 15, but decreasing more as the night moves on. Tomorrow, your high 42 degrees, mainly sunny skies. It's still going to stay chilly tomorrow. 42, we should be at 56 this time of the year, so we're going to be below average. Overnight lows across the region, not just us, but look at Rachel and Pioche at 7 degrees. It's going to be 10 degrees up at Kyle Canyon. 22 Searchlight, 27 tonight for Laughlin. Here is your 7-day forecast now. A cold start for a couple days here into the weekend. We're back to more sunshine for Saturday and Sunday. Next week, warming up to the low 60s under mostly sunny skies and looking good just in time for our super recycling event. Again, tonight when you're watching our New Year's Eve coverage, hashtag Vegas NYE.
Got it.
You'll see your name, anything you put at the bottom of the screen.
Keep it clean, everybody.
Yes,
it's a family show.
Have fun. Thanks, Ted.
All right, Ted, well, you'll appreciate this. Wild weather stretching across the west. Take a look at the wind. And this is at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena today. Of course, they're preparing for the big game tomorrow and hoping the conditions are not going away. Fortunately, nobody appeared to be hurt, but boy, it's close call.
I was expect to see the Wicked Witch of the West flying around there in Dorothy.
Right?
You know what? No place like home. Ride-sharing service Uber is expecting New Year's Eve to be its busiest night ever, even without operations in Nevada. The car service anticipates 2 million riders tonight, but how much more will customers have to pay? You know, the company is known to raise prices when rides are in high demand. Well, last year, someone tweeted out a receipt for a 5-mile Uber ride that cost $265. The company said it expects fares to be the highest between 12:30 and 2:30 a.m. tonight, which makes sense. People coming home from New Year's Eve. And let's get one last check of your traffic at this 4 o'clock hour. Road closures are about to happen any time now, I assume. Ken Smith and Chopper Ray. Ken?
Yeah, and just following up on that Uber story, reminder tonight starting at 6 o'clock, all RTC buses. So all the city buses are going to be free of charge from 6 p.m. tonight till 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. So who needs Uber? You can just take the bus for free. You don't have to worry about surge pricing or anything else. All right, we're taking a look here right at the intersection of Tropicana and Koval Lane, where you can see they're already beginning the process of starting to shut down the road, and it's already starting to cause a backup. So we got big delays on Tropicana heading off to the west. All these folks are trying to squeak their way toward the strip before everything starts getting sealed off. Now, coming at about 5 o'clock this afternoon, NDOT will start shutting down all the off-ramps at Tropicana, Flamingo, and Spring Mountain, at least the off-ramps that go eastbound. Then at about 5:30 or about 5:30, 5:45 this afternoon, the strip will be completely closed, and by 6:30 p.m., you will find everything open for pedestrians only. So it'll be a whole different tale. You'll see all these cars now, but coming up by about 6:30 tonight, it'll be a sea of pedestrians, and it'll continue to grow all the way till midnight tonight. Reporting live right over the strip, I'm Ken Smith, 8 News Now.
It's a surprise of a lifetime, literally. We are showing you one man's reaction when his son gifted him his fixed-up classic car.
And then on 8 News Now at 5 o'clock, Sheriff Doug Gillespie says so long to a long, what many call stellar career. The fitting way he's retiring his Metro badge after decades on the force.
There was a big surprise on Christmas morning for a retired Indiana farmer, but it wasn't under the tree, it was in the garage.
Norman Meal's son had entirely refurbished his beloved 1949 GMC truck that had been up on blocks for years. Nicole Pence has the heartwarming story.
Kyle Meal wants to remember his dad's reaction Christmas morning. That's why he took a video.
You don't see your present yet?
What they're getting, well, I think the question should be, what did you give somebody else that you were able to give them, whether it's a material object or whether it's just something you helped them with.
Dad's old truck, ready for a drive.
That'll do it for us at 4.
Have a great new year.